Hey, what's going on YouTube? Marine X back at it again. Everybody and their mom has dropped their Olight Baton 4 Premium or Baton 4 regular standard edition video because Olight just dropped this flashlight, especially in corresponding with their Olight sale and the Black Friday sale. And there are a few things that you have to consider when you're thinking about whether you want to get this Olight Baton 4 Premium, or if you might even consider getting the Wuben X3 Owl edition, because they're very similar. There's something that you highly would compare amongst one another. And at the end of the day, if you already have the Olight Baton 3 Premium, this isn't an upgrade for you. You shouldn't be upgrading year over year. This is not an iPhone. But if you don't have either one of these two, let me help you decipher which one is better for you. All right, so as mentioned, we have the Olight Baton 4 Premium. We also have the Wuben X3 Owl. Both of them are some EDC flashlights, which are ready for you to throw in your pocket, whether you're a day hiker, just a regular EDC Joe around your house, you do some type of night patrols or whatever. You have a lot of considerations for if you even want to carry an EDC flashlight. So I'm going to try to break these down in categories which are digestible. We're going to talk about max output, functionality, accessories, power source, controls, in aesthetics. Okay, so first off, let's talk about things that are comparable with both of these, and then we'll talk about which ones may win each category. Both of these have magnetic bases on the bottom. Both of these have a rechargeable case, which is included if you buy these specific devices. Both of the cases charge with Type-C charging with the USB Type-C cable. Both of these output to an additional device, so if you need to charge a secondary device, you can use these cases to do that. Both of these flashlights have multiple lighting modes, and both of these include a lanyard and additional accessories. So let's just talk about some of the differences. First off, the Olight Baton 4 Premium weighs 52.5 grams. This thing here, it has a 1300 lumen turbo mode, which you can do for about 30 seconds. This has an IPX waterproof rating. It also has a 5,000 milliamp hour charging box, and it fully rechargeable in 2.5 hours. And it has a moonlight mode of half a lumen. Comparable to the Wuben X3, this one weighs 70 grams. This one also has a wireless charging capability directly on the flashlight. So if you have a Q wireless charger laying around, you can lay this entire thing onto the base of that and it will charge. It has a 180-degree rotating head, so you can use this kind of in a forward position, or you can put this on a bag and use this in a horizontal position or forward facing position. This is fully rechargeable in 2 hours, and the moonlight mode on this thing is 1 lumen. This also includes additional lights as well. So if you want to have a red light for this thing, you can have a red light, which the Olight does not have, and it also has a blue light, which you can use and keep illuminated for this thing as well. So dual LEDs, lights up blue if you need to have a light indicator if you want that. So just like here, you can see the whole thing is lights up blue if you want it to light up blue, and it will light up blue with the actual light itself when you turn it on, or you can turn that off. This also has a diffusion mode. So if you put this back in its case, you turn this on, you can use this entire case as a diffusion case and hang it from a device, and if you're at a campsite or something like that. The battery indicator for this is directly located on the flashlight. So if you're wondering how much light, what am I in? On the flashlight itself, it tells you what lumen you're in. It also tells you how much battery you have left. The Olight, the charging indicator is on the outside. That tells you how much percentage is left for the actual case itself. And on the flashlight, there is a charging indicator on the side, which is indicated by dots on the side. So it tells you if it's fully charged. It also tells you what mode that you're in with a dot on the side. This has a stainless steel compression versus a silicone on the older models. This case is backwards compatible. So if you have a pre-run mini or a pre-run, you can stick those in here. You can use this for charging and storage. So that's going to be good if you already have some older flashlights with you, or if you have the older Olight Baton 3 Premium. You can stick this in here and use this as both charging and as a storage for those. So let's talk about the categories in which one I believe wins for both. Max output. The Olight has a max output of 1300 lumens. That's in a turbo mode. You know, if you're a police officer, or if you just want to have a secondary flashlight with a max output that can light up a wood line, a tree line, or something like that, the Olight is going to be better for you. It also has a farther throw than the Wuben does. So max output, Olight wins that category hands down. All right, so the next one here is functionality. So when we talk about functionality, how well does this system function in its capacity? So they both include the charging cases themselves. They both include obviously a flashlight. But when we think about the functionality of these things overall, I kind of got to give it to Wuben, mainly because out the box, you're getting this Type-C to Type-C cable. You can use this to charge your devices immediately out the box. When it comes to the actual flashlight itself, you can see how much, which mode that you're in. As soon as you press on the flashlight, it tells you which mode, how many lumens you're in, how much battery you have left. And overall, you can use this as a diffusion source. You can use this while it's in its case. You can also use the Olight while it's in its case by opening it up and just pressing on this button. And it treats the Olight just like it is as if it were not in its case. But that doesn't have a lot of functionality compared to a diffusion top such as the Wuben. And with the Wuben, you don't actually have to open the case to use it. You can use this while it's closed. So functionality purposes, I gotta give it to the Wuben just for that ease of use. Now, accessories. I'm a big fan of the accessories that come with the Wuben. This Type-C to Type-C charging cable is fantastic. They also include the charging cable, although the charging cable for the Olight is a USB-A to USB-C, whereas the charging cable for the Wuben is very unique because it's built into the lanyard. So here, you actually can press this button here, and it's a USB-C to USB-C charging cable, which is more compatible right out the box for charging with your different phones. So I can take this immediately, and I can take this, plug it into the front of the Wuben, and I can take it and plug it into my phone and begin to charge my phone immediately without having to buy a secondary or an additional device. With the Olight, if you don't already own a USB-C to USB-C cable, you're not going to be using the charging capabilities of the Olight out of the box. This lanyard that comes with the actual Olight is pretty nice. I like that a lot, but it is a difficult task to take this lanyard out. You can't quickly remove this. Whereas the Wuben, if I want to take this actual lanyard off, I have this little hook right here. I can take this off, and use this charging cable as I see fit. Or if I just want to remove the charging cable and leave this on here and just leave it hanging and dangling, I can do that as well. This thing here includes a ruler. Now, how often are you going to use a ruler? Yeah, I don't know. Probably not very often, but so I like the functionality of this actual lanyard a little bit more than I like for Olights. Now, there is, admittedly, the Olight does have the backwards compatibility with other flashlights, but if you're buying this as your first flashlight or your only flashlight, you would have no functionality to have that backwards compatibility. So just when it comes to the actual accessories themselves, although the Olight has a bigger capacity in the actual accessory itself, and I will also say that the Olight feels more premium, I gotta give it to Wuben when it comes to the accessories, because I like the cable that it comes with. I like the quick detached lanyard on here. And I like the fact that, I could use more easily, I could use the Wuben on its own away from the Olight because of the actual charging base. Now, let's talk about strictly the controls of the flashlight. We talked about functionality, which overall, how the whole system functions, that's fantastic. But when we're just talking about the flashlights, once we get the flashlights away from their case, so now you have the flashlights on their own. They're out in the wild. Which one's going to function a little bit better? Ergonomics, the Olight feels way better in the hands ergonomically. Although the Wuben does have this 180-degree head on there, it does make it a lot easier accessing the controls. The actual Olight is easier to do because it just kind of naturally falls in your hand, but it's not impossible to do with the Wuben. The Wuben has no knurling. This is pretty slippery. Of course, the Olight has tons of knurling on here, but when it comes to the actual controls themselves, if I were to hand this to a novice, someone who never EDCs anything, the controls are super easy to understand when it comes to the Wuben. You push that once, you're in one lumen mode. You press this on the Olight, you actually have no clue which mode that you're in. You kind of just have to kind of guess what you are. You see that just one battery indicator. Am I in low movement? Am I in low lumen or am I in moonbeam? I'm not a big fan of that because low and moonbeam have the same functionality. So I turn that off. I go to low mode and they both light up the bottom one to let you know that you're in low or moonbeam. I like the just nice, easy to read display of the Wuben, although I do wish the screen would turn off once it turned on, kind of like the Olight does. Once you turn the flashlight on, it gives you an indicator which you're at. And then after a couple of seconds, it actually goes off and it lets you keep the flashlight on. But handing this to a novice, handing this to someone that never carries a flashlight, who's going to understand it a little bit better, it's probably going to be the Wuben. So I kind of got to give the controls to the Wuben. Now, the next one here is power source. Now, the power source for the Olight is a removable battery, which you can buy an additional battery from Olight if you want to. I have a complaint because, you know, you can buy these batteries from Olight. So if you wanted to be able to throw a one in here very quickly and not have to wait for this thing to recharge, that's doable. You can't buy a third party battery, but at least you can get one from Olight's website. Whereas Wuben, the battery is not removable at all. I actually have no clue what this power source is. I can't take it off. I can't take it out. So the power source is pretty important. Although I can charge this on a wireless charger, I like the fact that I can quickly swap it out. And so neither one is rocking a AA or AAA. But when it comes to that power source, the reliability, the bigger battery bank, I got to give the power source to Olight. When we talk about aesthetics is super subjective. For me personally, I think that the aesthetic factor hands down goes to the Olight. I like the way it looks. For a traditional standpoint, it just looks a lot better. I think it looks really sharp. I like the knurling. It feels good in the hand. I like the dual pocket clip. And those type of things are very important when it comes to the type of aesthetics. This pocket clip on the Wuben is a little bit harder to use. I got to give the aesthetic factor to the Olight, but that's my opinion. Any of these should be deal breakers for you. You have to think about, do you need maximum output? Do you want something that has dual functionality? Do you need a red light, a blue light? Do you want something that has a clear, bright screen? Do you want something that has backwards compatibility? That's a lot of things to think about. And then we have to think about the price. We're talking about MSRP. MSRP for both of these are very, very close. The Wuben comes in at $109.99. The Olight comes in at $99.99. That's $10 within one another. They're always on sales. Right now, they're having a Black Friday sale. Click my links in the description to get the most up-to-date pricing on any of these sales for these two items. But they're so close in compatibility, it's very hard to make that difference. Now, which one would I choose? For me personally, because I like the cases. However, the way I treated the Olight Baton 3's case, this was a stationary case that stayed in my truck. So this would stay in my truck. Whenever I needed the flashlight, I would take the flashlight out. I would use it at a carnival or a fair or a soccer game or whatever. I would come back. I would throw this back into its case and it would live exactly the same way. Since I have upgraded, or since I received the Wuben X3, I've treated it the same way. Whereas I throw this in the truck. If I need the flashlight, I take it out, I use it, etc., etc. Because I do that, if I've needed a quick charge, I have used the Wuben's case for a quick charge for my phone. However, when it comes to things that I use it for, rucking, which means I need to put the flashlight on a pack, it needs to face forward and illuminate the pathway that I'm going to. Lighting, lighting different things inside the house. I've had a lot of functionality out of the Wuben. I've owned the Wuben and the Baton 3 Premium at the same time, and the Olight Baton 3 Premium has fallen to the wayside. The upgrades in the Baton4 Premium with the outward charging for other devices, the backwards compatibility, and the bigger battery are not enough for me personally to stop carrying the Wuben over the Olight. However, You may like the fact that you can quickly swap out batteries. You may have a bunch of Olight proprietary chargers laying around and may not have any wireless chargers laying around for this Wuben, because once this is away from its charging case, you have to buy a secondary case or a secondary charger for this Wuben, or you have to have Qi wireless chargers laying around, or you're not going to be able to charge this thing. So you really have to weigh and see which one matters for you. Me personally, Wuben's probably going to be the way I go forward, but knowing myself, I'm going to keep both in rotation. Comment down below, which one do you have more functionality for? Is it Olight? Is it Wuben? Is it the swag factor? Is it the functionality? Is it any of the categories that I mentioned? I would love to know what your comments down below. If this is your first time stopping by, make sure you hit that like button and join the battalion by hitting the subscribe button as well. If this is not your first time stopping by, hit the like button. Once again, thank you for stopping by, watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.